By the way, when you work with strings, you need to know that a string is also an array of characters. Okay? So whenever you define a string, let's say you define a string called name, you can still reference a particular character within that array. You say first character, and then you would also say now see out the first character. So if your array contains a hello, on the last character in your array. Okay? So a string is an array of characters. A star would be if you want to define a string that is more the size that you want to be a string. Okay? Other than that, a string can be and the next would be the 280 characters. Okay? That would be the range of the string that most of it is. So this is the very simple that you might use as string as well. This is so it's a class that contains the mark for a student's English math and science and so on. And then we start with the make this an array of floats and basically add three values here. And then this float here is also something that is a function. You can only call by public reason above. And this function is then of add a number, and basically a student number, and then we also accept the values of the whole sign, and then we also call that the counter so the way to go about doing that is start with the name class, of course. The structure of your class. You see that the name of the class is specific. We call that student and social service. Okay. And then firstly, yeah, I think I would start with you have to say the word private in private. No. Reserve word. Find any private. Private in this case means that when you create an object, in this case, student, son, part of creating an object or instantiating an object of that class. So you can then call the public members using the dot operator in the same for right? For whatever it is. So public means that you can call that member, you can access the member via the object. Private on the other hand means you have a private member which is you can't say his name or people or whatever. So that is the error because it's private. So you can't access a member via the dot operator. Total, you can't call total like that. That's the private. Private means that members like when you define a class, every class is known, or every element within the class is known as a member of that class. Okay? Classes is basically a way of creating new types, data types. Okay? Like your integers and your strings. Okay? But here we define a new type. Okay? Um, your that newly defined data, your newly defined object basically is specified within a class. The class is the blueprint or basically the design for how a particular object will look like. Okay? It's in the same way of building a house. Okay? When you build a house, you draw the plans. So the plans basically tells you that this is what the house looks like. Okay, on paper. This is something similar to this. Okay? So when you write, let me just go to the solution of this. Okay? I'll show you how it will eventually look like. Okay? So, all right. Besides that, that's all inline. So your class starts with the main class, the website, and the all these definitions here. So we don't have to say a variable, that's the same as the variable. But variables there, using the object that we will later on create. So everything is here, okay? And let me just let me just take out all of this there. Put a yes at the bottom. So we've got public. Okay, so what do we say? Even float this. Yeah. Float, okay. Just put this down. Okay, I'll explain to you now what that will be look like. So that is the main function. All right. So your public is The private, like I say, is variables that you can't access outside of the class. So in other words, in your main program, you can't make reference to admin. First of all, you can't make reference to that variable like that. And assign some value to that 25, whatever the student number is. Okay? You can't assign a value to that, first of all, because that is not declared anywhere, and because it's declared there doesn't mean you can use it. Okay? If you declare an object of that student type, in this case here, OBJ is a student type, you can't say OBJ dot admin number, okay? Assign a value to that. That would be illegal, okay? You can't do that. That's why it is private, okay? Private in the sense that you don't want to alter your data. You can only alter the data when you use it via a function, okay? Which we'll look at now. So now the members that we want to define is, or the class is, uh, so it's state data, which will accept the admin number, this is the name, and that and that, okay? So the way that will look like is, so that is the function that it should look like, okay? But for your class definition, you're only concerned with the prototype of that, and we'll just prototype it in your class definition, right? I'll tell you now, okay? And in the same with that, C total, that would be a, all right, let's take it out there, okay? Let me do this in a, let me just do it in a, you'll see it better, okay? Just take note that I don't check the empty project. Okay? In your case, if you do check the empty project, it means that you have to add an additional CPP file. Okay? If I don't check the empty project, which means I'm not creating an empty project that creates this CPP file for me, you will always see that line there included. Okay? So you don't take that line out unless you create it as a new project and you add it. If you create a new project, any project means that you have to go add a new item and then add your CPP. Okay, that's what you were taught in the first year. Okay? So I will only. Okay, this will also work, but I would rather use the void main and don't pass any parameters there. Okay. Now we've got that there, right? So I'm going to define a class, okay? But now what you need to know about class definition and methods defined, okay? We will split our code into three different files, okay? The first file being a header file, the second one being also a CPP file, which is the implementation file, okay? So your header file contains the definition of your class, which is the structure of the class, which would be only that part, okay? That is the class definition, right? The second one will contain the definition or the function definition basically, okay? Which will be the actual function that is defined, but there is a slight difference when we come to defining the function. okay? And I'll show you that shortly, okay? Then the third file, or the main file, would be, obviously be your main program where the function main is in. Okay? So there's three files. Okay? So what I'll do here first is to add is to put all the code into one file firstly. You can see how it works, and then we'll split it up and see that you can actually do that. Okay, so we're looking at this class, okay? So now you've got the definition, you've got the question here. This is the question. The question says, define a class with the following specifications. Private members, which is your, sorry, which is there, that one there, and then you've got, okay? That there are basically three floats, or three doubles, whatever you prefer, and in a total, and in a function, and then you've got two extra functions, okay? All right? So you start with the word class, okay, and student, student, okay. So automatically when you type in class, or the bracket it will give you that as the in bracket. Okay? If you continue on with your normal definition um, of your declarations of your variables, okay? Int, and let's rather make this a string, okay? Now, string has shows an error there. The reason why is we haven't included string as a default. Okay, what I also might need is IOStream uniform and finding the name using namespace. Okay? So that would be your initial work there. Okay. So we continue with the class. It contains, we've got that, we've got the float. So we've got three variables there to be declared, and then one extra one, and then a float there. Right? So this functions are always, let's put a comment on. Okay. Okay. We might, I think by default, all members are public, okay? Yeah, but yeah, it's public, yeah. So what you have to do is rather put in the word private then, because the word private must be included, and the next step is to include the word public, the reserved for public. So note that public starts with or ends with a colon, which means that everything declared after that would be public, okay? Or rather private in this case. Everything declared after that would be public. So what is the um, okay, so you got that as your that's your data members. So this here would be in your class definition. Okay. Um, so if you're asked to only give the class definition, this would be the answer to that question. But we can continue, we can extend this and also include because you need to actually define the members, especially this total, that and that, okay? And when you define that, you're basically specifying what the function will do, okay? So let's just, so your function definitions, um, because this was inline, okay? I've explained to you what inline functions are. Inline functions are functions that are specifically defined inside your class boundary. Okay, so for instance, something like that. Okay, here you've defined the function, and that's known as an inline definition. Okay. Um, all right, so we want to not, we don't want to have an inline function definition. We'll find it outside of the class. So when you define it outside of the class, you start with the word with the same return type, but you also include uh, the name of your class, double colon, and then the name of the function that you're defining. So just look at the how it looks like now. So the difference there is you've included the word student, which is the class name, and the double colon. Okay, that double colon there is known as a. Anyone remember what is it known as? Yeah, it's a double colon. Yeah, but what is it known as? It's something axis. Yeah. No, it's not. It's some operator. Yeah. It's something. Scope something operator. So if someone mentioned it, yes. Scope resolution operator. Scope solution. Okay? The double colon is known as scope resolution operator. Please don't forget that. So your scope resolution operator here is, so for this exercise, we only calculate the total score, okay? So if it's 50, whatever the score for each of those subjects, only the total, okay? Um, so here what you do, you return English, sorry, English plus math plus time. So that's all that function, that particular function does, okay? The next function is next one two basically. Just note that the return type is a float, okay? So whenever a function has got a return type other than void, okay, it must have a return type return in there, okay? Um, when it is a void function, it can have a return type there, but it's not required. Okay? So um, um, value returning functions is must have a return type in there. In other words, whenever the function has a return type of any other type except void, it must have the word return in it. Okay? A void function may have a word return there, but it's not necessary. So which means for a void function, you can also return to the calling function at any time in your code. Okay? So void. So what is the next one? Take data. So for take data, basically what you need there is just to prompt the user to accept the value and then accept the value. So the prompt is with your C out and your C in. So here we will just ask C out. What we got here? Enter admission number, enter student name, and enter the marks for English, math, and science. Okay. So here we have a C in, C in English, math, and science, and then we call the function. There is a call to Okay, so once we've done that, we want to now actually call the members, um, or rather call the function, okay? So we've got declare student. But that's all we will put into that function for that code. So if so let's just review this. This here would be, this is your main program, or your main program, okay? This part here is the function definition, and it continues until there, right? That would be, and then this part here is that's your class definition, okay? That part is your class definition there. So this all is all happening in one application. So let me just paste this. Okay. Student name. Enter marks for English. So, 3 and 1. Okay. And then finally, admission number, student name, English, math, and then science, and then total score. See, total score is there on the same line. I've asked you if there's anything wrong with this, so there's nothing wrong. So we should have a inline there as well. So, let's put that space there. Okay, then leave that space. Okay. Okay. So what you see in your main program are these 4 lines of code, or basically 3 lines of code. Okay. That over here, there being a object, um, or object that is a class or object instance, or an instance of a class basically. So it's, this term here is known as instantiation. association when you create an instance of another class. Okay? So which means you can also add, you can create more objects. Object 2, object 3, and object 4, and so on. Right? Or alternatively, you can create an array of students. Okay? Right? So when you create an array of students, your operation basically works differently where you make use of the subscript there, right? That you call multiple times. Okay? Let's leave that out now. We're trying just to explain that using no